Hello, welcome back to my channel guys. Today we will be designing a minimal character web page that shows the character, stats, description, just like the one you saw at the beginning of the video. We'd also be creating a prototype, so therefore we'd actually be setting up our assets for easy prototyping. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first thing I want to do is create an artboard. I'll be using the web 1920 by 1080, right? And then let's go on and create our background. So we want to use the rectangle tool and kind of draw across. Want to remove the border and give it a color. So 191C22. That's the color. All right. The next thing we want to do is create the navigation, the top navigation. So on this design, we would have two navigation: the home as well as the profile. So, and this is the profile page we are creating. So let's do that. Let's show our grid and let's reduce the opacity so it won't distract us from the design. Just slightly so we'll be able to see it. Okay, and the next is the profile. So I'm using the Avenir fonts and 20 pixels and medium. Since we're designing the profile page, we want to highlight the profile. We want to make it a little bit different from the inactive links, right? So to do that, we give it a color of blue, light blue, and we also want to create sort of a lighting icon. Yeah, so to do that, we can just grab the pen tool and just create an icon. Okay, we want to give it a color, a fill color of blue, and we want to give it a drop shadow of about 10, and the color of the drop shadow would be the same color. Okay, so we're just gonna put this just below the link just to show that that is the active page, right? The next thing we want to do is create a screen, or a link rather, for the language. So a user would be able to change from English to Russian. And we want to reduce the opacity of this to show that it's not active, so about 40%. Okay, let's create our hamburger menu, right? To do this, we grab the rectangle. Okay, I'll give it a slightly darker color than the background, and then we can then create the icon. So this is going to be 2 pixels by 2 pixels, and then we're going to duplicate it, and then we'll center it horizontally as well as vertically. So we do have this. Let's align it to the links. Okay, let's group this. All right, so now we have the navigation done, right? The next thing we want to do is bring in our character. So this character, I've already made it a component. This is a character that I designed in Photoshop. All right, so we can just bring this in. And just to mention that you can actually use whatever character you have. I just feel that this suits my purpose, and I wanted to use something that I created. So let's remove. No, not now. The next thing we want to do is draw a line across, and this line was going to give it white, and then we're going to reduce the opacity to about 20%. Okay, we also want to create, so just duplicate this. Let's draw another line. All right, and this is just a way of designing or beautifying the page, so by including different elements to it. Okay, let's bring in our text. I'm going to make it the font weight to be black, and the size should be around 80 pixels. Okay, that's good. Let's make it 70 pixels. All right. Just like you saw at the beginning of the video, where you saw the text kind of reading up and down. This is something that I actually covered on my last video, but I'm just gonna quickly go over it today. So yeah, what we want to do is we're going to have a text that's kind of reads up and down. Okay, and to do this, what we can do is we can have a text from 0 to 9. I'm just going to go through this. Okay, so we're going to duplicate this 3 more times, and then we're going to group them. Alright, so what we want to do now is create a mask over it. So to create a mask, you just need to draw a rectangle over part of the objects you want to mask, and then select both of them and click mask with shape. Now we have our numbers, and we can go into the mask and bring out and review some of the numbers we want to show. So we want this to be 20. This is going to be the year 2075. And the reason for doing this is that so when we start doing the animates, we can just kind of change these numbers, and then when we animate them, they look animated. The next thing we want to create is just a sample text. There is a plugin called Lorem Ipsum that generates text for you. Yeah. Good. So now we have the navigation, we have the character, we have some of the designs on the page. We want to create, the next thing we want to create is actually the call to action, and it's going to read choose character. So let's do that. Let's get a rectangle of about 65 for the height, and then 350 for the width. All right, we want to give it a border of white and also a fill of white. Okay, would also do is make it a background blur, so the fill is kind of revealing what is behind the button. All right, it's just a different, whatever style suits you. But then we want to move it, skew it a little bit to the left and to the right. And then the next thing we want to do is get our text in here. And this is going to be choose character, and they're all going to be in uppercase. All right. We also want to create, want to style the text on the button a little bit. So at the top of the button here, we want to create another shape. This is going to be pure white, and then the same at the bottom here. And then we can group all these as the call to action button. And there we have it. All right. The next step is actually creating the stats. So for the stats, the shape is going to be very similar to what we have here. So let's get a rectangle of about 30 pixels for the height, and let's say 350 for the, or 300 pixels for the length. Okay, let's move the border, skew it a little bit. We're gonna give it a color, a feel of, it's a little bit darker than the background. And then we want to duplicate this by pressing Ctrl or Command D. So we have two of these. For this, we would be changing the color to indicate that there is it starts a reader here. Okay, and to do this, I do have a color already. Okay, so we have the stats, and we're going to give the name this stats. Let's call it weapons damage. So this is going to be the level of the amount of damage this particular character has. So what we can do now is group them and just duplicate. All right, and we can group and make it a stack. So in the future, if you want to add more, we just need to do that, and we can control the levels or the space in between them automatically. So that's good. This is going to be skills level, and the final one will be power. Okay, so now we have the section for the stats. Then the next one will be a sort of a level, and this, we can do this by creating a polygon of about 6 sides. We are going to give it background color of white, and let's round the corners. Okay, I think this is just trying to get the size. I think that's fine. You can give it whatever size you want. And then the final stage will be actually creating the social media buttons. And the way I want to do this, like just the video you saw at the beginning, where when we hover on the icons, then it changes and then something pops out. All right, so what we want to do first is create a rectangle, 50 pixels. All right, no border. We'll also create another rectangle, so we just duplicate this by holding on Option and dragging out. and then we would reduce this so about 1 pixels for the height. In here, what we want to do is give it a background blur and a border of white, and maybe let's leave it. No need for the border radius, that's fine. Okay, so we want to put this back in here. So the reason for doing this is when we want this to just come up, and then the text changes color. So that's the reason we have that. And we'd also want the name of the social media. So this would be let's say Facebook. Okay, for this we would want to mask it, so we don't want it to show until so the user actually over on the button. All right, so we select both, and then we mask with shape. Want to expand, and then we want to take this down. Okay, so it's there but it's not showing. The next thing we want to do is get in our icon. All right, okay, so we have all the buttons selected and also the mask for the title of the social media, which is Facebook. What we want to do is we want to group them. So we have this grouped. We also, after grouping them, what we also want to do is we want to change it to a component. And so this will be the default state, right? So when the user over on it, then the states will change. So I'm going to create the other states now. To do this, you have this selected, and then you click on the plus icon over here, and we want to create an over state, right? So for the over state, what we want to do is, remember our rectangle we have here, we want this to come up, and we want to change the text, the color of the icon, and for this we want this to come up. Yes. So this is how the text is going to be when you over on it. All right, and this is the default, this is the over. So that's it. The next, we also do that for the Twitter icon. All we need to do is get the icon of the Twitter and paste it here. Okay, and we also want to change the text to Twitter. All right, so this is the default state. Then the over states, we want to change this text to Twitter, and we want to paste the Twitter logo and remove the Facebook logo. So now we have two buttons that are responsive. So the final thing we want to actually create is the when you saw at the beginning of the video, you saw that there is like kind of a design element at this part of the screen. So this is what I want to design right now, and to do it is very simple. All you need to do is get a rectangle, right? And one thing about design is alignment. How you align your work just makes it looks a little bit more professional. What we want to do here is we would be creating multiple rectangles of about 20 pixels for the width. We would also be giving it a color, which is this. Okay, so we want to duplicate this multiple times, and to do that we can just group these two, create a stack, and just duplicate this as much as we want. All right, let's rotate it about 60 and place it on this. Then we have the two, then we want to mask it. We have to bring this to the front and then mask it. So now we have that design up there. I can bring it here. Okay. So we want to take this up a little bit. So there we have it, right? So the next thing we will be doing is actually prototyping the design. So we want to prototype this text, we want to prototype this, and also prototype this. Okay, so let's get started. So for the prototyping, you know, the way prototyping works in AdobeXD is that you need to have a start state as well as an end state. So this is going to be our end state where everything is shown, right? So what we can do is let's bring this down a little bit and let's actually duplicate it. Okay, then we want to have a start state. For the start states, what we want to do is we want to hide some of this element, and then as we go on the prototyping, we would actually be revealing some of the elements one after the other. So let's hide this. We want to hide this. Okay, we want to hide this. We also want to hide this. Okay, we also want to hide this. So this is a mask. What we want to do is just bring this down a little bit. We also want to make this smaller, and then they just kind of increase as we go on to the next screen, right? I think that's all we need to do. Then the next stage would duplicate this. Okay, and here we want to review just the numbers, just two of the numbers, so these two. Okay, and then we actually review the third one, which is 7, and also this. So also on this screen, we want to bring this back. Okay, and then we duplicate this again, and we'll just make it come back to 5, and then we duplicate it again, and then we are going to be revealing this. So yeah, we want to bring this out a little bit more, and you can just double click on the elements to make it show the path. Okay, so these are all the initial screens that leads to this. All right, so this is the way prototyping works in Adobe XD. Okay, all right, so we have all the screens we need for prototyping. Let's go to the prototyping tab on the top left of your screen. Yeah, and then we want to link this to this, and this is going to be auto animate. This is going to be on a keypad when a keypad is pressed, and we would use the capital letter S for that. So this will be ease in, ease out, and this will be just 1 second, right? And then we move on to the next, and this will be a timer. Okay, this will be a timer. Auto animate, ease in, ease out. It should be around 0.6 seconds. And then we move on to the next one. It's also going to be a timer. Okay, and then we move on to the next one. This is also going to be a timer of 0.8, and you can just tweak this duration and this delay as you like to suit your design. This is what I felt like it is. It works properly when it comes to this particular design, but for you it might be different, so make sure you just tweak this a little bit more. And from here to the final screen is going to be, there will be a delay of 0.6 and then 0.8 for the duration to transition. Okay, let's see if we've done that correctly. So if I click on the S button, it should start reading. Okay. And then when we over on this, we have that set. So there you go, guys. This is the end of the tutorial. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and comment on the comment section. Whatever design you want me to create, just comment. I'll be reading the comments and I would make sure to do those designs. Thank you and stay safe.